Arsenal were unstoppable against Portsmouth in the FA Cup this afternoon. As you would expect, it was a great victory, but tonight we're going to break down every goal, every key moment, and which players shone the brightest. Welcome back to All About Arsenal, and today we're going to have a quick breakdown of the game between Arsenal and Portsmouth. We visited Fratton Park in the FA Cup by 3 p.m. this afternoon. And this was a game that we expected to win. This was a game that we expected to rotate a lot of players, bearing in mind that we've had many guys that have played so many minutes. So we've had to play a couple of many minutes, and it was very good to see that Arsenal managed the squad well. The game had its own ups and downs, in all honesty, but it was good to see how the players reacted. The FA Cup is one competition that has not been favorable to us in recent times because last time Arsenal actually won any trophy, at least we're not counting the Community Shield, the Emirates Cup, was as far back as 2020, like that first campaign when he took over from Unai Emery. But since then, we've had some very, very shocking results in the competition. Last season, we lost to Manchester United on penalties. They even had a red card, and now Bayende received a penalty from Martin Odegaard. The season before that, it was a loss to Liverpool. The departed Joe actually scored in that game. The campaign before that, it was Man City in the fourth round. I think we managed to win Oxford United in the third round, so I can't remember. But I know we lost to a Nathan Ake goal. The campaign before that was Nottingham Forest 1-0, George Graban. So this was one tournament that Arsenal has really needed to improve on. So we visited Fratton Park against the Portsmouth side that is currently 20th or 21st in the championship. It was definitely Arsenal were going to score a goal. Arsenal were going to do better in this kind of game because, come on, the quality was a whole lot different. But when you think about the magic of the FA Cup, especially in games like Macclesfield Town winning against Crystal Palace, who are the defending champions, Arsenal had to be careful as well. So how did we pan out in the game? Let's look first at the confirmed lineups. As you would expect, Arteta made wholesale changes to the team that played against Liverpool in the disappointing 0-0 draw. We had Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. He, is expected to be our cup keeper as the season progresses. And if he was not going to play against the likes of Portsmouth, then what's the point of having him around? So Kepa, as expected, made an appearance in the game. On the left-hand side of the defense, we had no choice but to play Marcus Lewis Kelly. He was someone that actually would have played this game nonetheless. But with Piero Hincapié injured and Ricardo Calafiori also injured, he was the undisputed player in that position. On the right-hand side, we had a Ben White who is warming his way back to full fitness. Remember what happened in the game against Wolves when he injured his hamstring? He had played 4 games in a row in I think 10 days, and that kind of load was a bit too much for him. But Julian Timber is also someone that needed to get some rest, so it was good to see Ben White play in that position. The centre back were very, very short. Saliba needed to get some rest. Gabriel just came back from injury. He just played a couple of games since he came back as on Villa and Liverpool. And of course, Christian Mosquera, who would have certainly played in this game, was out injured. So we had no choice but to use Christian Nogard as a centre back, a mischief centre back, while Gabriel also played alongside him. Bearing in mind that Gabriel needed some minutes. The other defender we had in the bench was Timber and the young Mali Salmon, who actually came on eventually to be our youngest FA Cup player. I'm sure if someone like Max Zam was available, a very broken down record. In midfield, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and Martin Zubimendi have played way too many games. So it was important to get some rest to those players and, of course, play our backup players. And that was where we saw the likes of Vitor Waneri, Eberechi Eze, and Mikel Merino getting the nod as the three central pairing. It was also quite interesting to see Merino wear the band ahead of Gabriel and Gabriel Jesus, who were both in the team. I guess he had been promoted by Mikel Arteta. That's what it is. In attack, we had Gabriel Jesus, excuse me, Gabriel Jesus in centre forward position with Noni Madueke and Gabriel Martinelli providing width on the flanks. So that was just something that you're going to expect to see from the Arsenal team. Portsmouth, of course, played their strongest XI for the game. Drusik was in goal, Devlin and Swanson were the fullbacks. Then we had Poole in central defense with Leroux and Dozel in midfield. And of course, Blair, Connor Chaplin. Chaplin, I think he played in Ipswich last season, if I recall, and Sugacic were the attacking trio with Bishop, the captain, leading the line. So the fans were up for it. They're very loud, they're very vocal, as you'd expect in a game like this. But what happened next was really a shocker because the very, very first goal of the game was scored by the home side. And it's quite interesting. An attack on the right hand side, they tee the ball to Connor Chaplin, who blasted a one time shot that was actually saved by Kepa. It was a very good save. But unfortunately, Gabriel was not reactive enough to anticipate the ball, and that allowed Bishop to actually score for Pompey. And obviously, the crowd went bonanza like basically the entire stadium was delirious. Everyone was screaming, shouting. You're like, okay, this is going to be an upset because now how the FA Cup can be. Sometimes your form goes through out of the window, and it's actually what you give on the pitch that matters. Like, see what happened early yesterday. Crystal Palace against Macclesfield. And Macclesfield is like I think in the sixth tier or fifth tier of the English league. But on the night, Crystal Palace obviously tried to rest a couple of players here and there as you'd expect, being a team that has actually been plagued with too many injuries and whatnot. But they lost. So when Arsenal went behind to Pompey, I was concerned, but at the same time I was kind of relaxed because I knew that Arsenal had more than enough in the tank to get a victory. Arsenal had the quality to get what was expected of them. And as expected, they delivered from a likely source. Set piece, ole. Like, so at this point in time, it's just a thing of beauty. Arsenal will continue to score from set pieces, whether teams like it or not. And it's quite interesting to see that 3 of the 4 goals scored today came from set pieces. The first one was a cross from, I think it was not the Madueke, I think it was Madueke or so, yeah? But there was so much chaos in the box, and Christian Nogard reacted very well to anticipate the ball and basically bundled it into the goal. One of the most ugly goals was scored in a very, very long time. But we didn't care because the goal came very close to when Portsmouth had scored. So that was a good equalizer that kind of calmed things down for us. But we didn't stop there. When the Madueke had another corner kick, and he swung to the near post, and Martinelli was there to just dink the ball into the net. Martinelli is someone that is not known for headers, but I guess it's just an Arsenal thing at this point. Anyone that reacts very well to the set piece, I think what comes to mind is the quality of the crosses that the players give make it quite easy for the attackers of the ball to score a goal. Like if you see our games on the right hand side, the Declan Rice distribution is amazing. On the left hand side, you have Bukayo Saka, and now Noni Madueke. If you remember we played against Newcastle, it was even Martin Odegaard that crossed a lovely ball that Gabriel nodded into the net. So what is key to know here is that we have very good distributors of the ball, and of course, Nicolas Juve has drilled these guys to know how to attack the ball when it gets into the box. Sometimes you go near post, sometimes you go far post. But today, Madueke swung it into the near post. Martinelli reacted on time, and it was 2-1. He scored the third goal, which we'll talk about much later. But the fourth goal again was from Martinelli in basically the same style. Madueke played a near post cross, Martinelli nodded it into the net. And of course, that was a hat trick for Arsenal. An amazing hat trick for the young lad. This son that been getting over so much stick from the fans. But this season, I think he's currently our top goal scorer. And I really love the fact that he has come to contribute as well because we all know that Trossard right now is the one that is ahead of him in the pecking order. But the key thing about this squad is that anyone that is allowed to play on the pitch needs to come to their own. And it's good to see how Martinelli scored a hat trick today. So set piece FC, as you'd expect, we did what we used to do and nothing changed. But there was one moment that was quite interesting, which was a penalty that we missed. So Noni Madueke, of course, being a nuisance to the defender, Swansea all game, he dribbled him and Swansea put his hands on him and rightfully dragged him down. That was certainly a penalty. There was no need to look at VAR, it was very certain. But something interesting happened. As soon as Madueke was stripped and the ref pointed to the spot, he just grabbed the ball. Like, this reminded me of what he did with Nicholas Jackson when he was still in Chelsea. Remember the game against Everton, where they got the penalty, him and Jackson were fighting for it. Eventually, Cole Palmer played it and scored. So he just grabbed the ball, but this time his teammates didn't even contest with him. I'm guessing maybe we're leading. Was it 2-1 at that point? I think it was 2-1 we're leading at that point. So it didn't matter. I think if it was maybe 0-0 or maybe it was about that would have been the goal to give us an equalizer. I think maybe someone like Gabriel Jesus or maybe Iberichi Eze would have probably contested. What I know for sure was that if we had Saka, okay, no, if Saka is on the pitch, Madueke was not on the pitch, he played on the left hand side. Or if Madueke had that kind of incident and we had maybe Odegaard or Gyökeres or Saka, certainly he will not play the penalty. But he played it eventually, sent the keeper the wrong way, but he missed the entire post. That was quite disappointing. He only had a good game. He had 2 or 3 assists in the game, so it was unfortunate that he could not score. But I'm guessing that obviously when an opportunity comes again, he'll probably not rush to pick up the ball to make it to play it in the spot because penalties actually require a certain level of technique. It's not just about just going to the box just to play it. No. If you look at renowned penalty takers, they have a style, they have the composure, they have the technique, and this time it didn't work out. But in the end, this didn't come back to haunt us. It was a penalty, no doubt. Madueke played it, no doubt, but unfortunately, he kind of rushed it. Which brings me to the GOAT. Yeah, now this GOAT, Gabriel Martinelli. Oh wow. I think I need to look at his stats on Footmob just to see the kind of impact he had in the game. Because yes, he scored a hat trick, but I think he did a whole lot more than just scoring a hat trick. So just if you indulge me, let me just check my phone real quick for his Footmob stats. So what he says here for Gabriel Martinelli, it's 2 minutes played, 3 goals, 69% accurate passes, 6 shots, shoot accuracy of 3, XG of 1.51, XGOT of 1.55, 2 big chances missed. Oh yeah, he clipped the post. So that have been 4 goals actually. Hit the woodwork once, had 30 touches, 7 touches in the opposition box, one pass into the final third. Like, Martinelli had an all-action performance that was amazing. The first goal he scored was from a header in the near post. The second goal was an amazing goal from a lovely pass from Gabriel Jesus. Jesus played the ball all the way from the right-hand side, and he just had his destroy Inzaghi-like sliding straight to an unguarded net. The third one also was a header as well, which was really good. And he also had a chance too, where I think it was a cross from Ben White, an amazing cross from Ben White, that he used his foot, but it was his shin that hit the ball out. He didn't really connect with the ball well, and the ball clipped the post. That's one difference between Ben White and Timber in the final third. Timber is someone that we know defensively is amazing, but when he gets to the final third, his crosses are not that good. But Martinelli did very well, had an amazing game, and I'm very happy to see that he contributed with 3 goals to the cause. Looking at the tactical breakdown, Arsenal did very well. The defense was very sturdy. Although Portsmouth had a couple of chances here and there, Kepa did well, made some good saves. Unfortunately for the goal he considered. In midfield, Merino was very good. The captain's performance really. Seeing him in the holding role was quite interesting because There's always that talk that he's not a holding defender, not a defensive midfielder. But he actually was very deep, dictated tempo, had a great influence on the game, and as you can see from the picture, he had like a very good passing range as well. But when Odegaard came and started playing deeper than him. But the likes of Iberechi Eze and Maneri had a couple of good touches here and there, but didn't influence the game as much as I would have liked, in all honesty. But were decent, in honesty. And of course, the attack was on fire. Madueke made life a living hell for the fullback Swanson. He was just up in that guy's face and kept on dribbling him, getting ahead of him. Also at another time he was pushed by Swanson as well, but the ref didn't look for a penalty this time. And of course Martinelli, he did well against Devlin to a certain degree, but he was more dangerous in the box from our corner kicks. Gabriel Jesus didn't score, but obviously he came on, had a good assist. And one good thing that happened was, I think in the 70th minute or thereabout, he left the pitch for Kai Havertz, who played his first minute since August. And obviously Havertz was taking a while to get into the stride of things. But I'm really happy with the performance of the lads. They really did well. So to my player ratings, Kepa has a 7 for me. He made some very good saves, had a very good distribution, showed great composure from pressure because there were a lot of times when the Portsmouth attackers tried to close down on him. But he always made himself available for a pass, just like what Raya does, and give it to his teammates. In defense, Lewis Kelly gets a 6 from me. He is struggling. Like Matt Lewis Kelly is struggling right now. In all honesty, I don't want to see him play Chelsea in midweek. I'd rather take Julian Timber to left back and play Ben White in right back, because if Maestro Lewis Kelly plays along against the likes of Palmer on the right, or Gittins or Garnacho or those crazy wingers that or Neto, they're going to cook the lad, man. Like when he came on for Hincapi against Liverpool, that was when Frimpong found a new lease of life and was just dribbling him like crazy. And right now, it's not improving. It's not improving. I'm just guessing because of the fact that he has not played football for quite a long time and he's kind of trying to get into his stride. But with the way things are, I don't think he can be trusted to play consistently for us. We really need Calafiori and Hincapi to come back real quick. Unfortunately, Hincapi might be out for up to a month with a hamstring strain. While Calafiori, there's some hope that he might make the Nottingham Forest game, but we're not sure yet. Obviously, be following up in Arteta's press conferences, but I'm not really happy with the Lewis Kelly is playing, and I really hope he can improve. Gabriel gets a 6 from me as well. He was not as influential as you'd expect, maybe because he was playing next to Norgard, but he even got proud of by the fans at some point. He was decent, but I think for the goal that we considered, Gabriel should have done better to close that striker down. Norgard gets a 7 for someone that is a defensive midfielder playing as a centre back. He was very excellent in the game against Club Brugge, and he showed it here again. Very dependable player. Obviously, he has not gotten as much minutes as he would have liked, but he's like this is his version of Jorginho, coming in to do a job when called. And right now, the job he was called for was in DM, because obviously there was no Mosquera. He was rapid, I'm sure, probably as the holding midfielder, but he did not. Ben White gets a 7 from me. Played well, got a yellow card, obviously, but he was more influential offensively, as you'd expect from a player like Ben White. That's where he really cooks for us. But I'm happy that we managed these minutes a bit. At some point, we had to sub him to bring on Julian Timber, which is something I'm very okay with. In midfield, Merino did very well. I almost gave him an 8, but I said let me just be conservative and give him a 7 because he actually played very well in central midfield, holding up play, distributing the ball to his teammates, just doing what you'd expect from him, a player of his position, which I'm really happy about. One area gets a 7. He was decent before he was sold for Odegaard, had a couple of nice touches here and there, but creatively we didn't see much from him. He had a couple of touches of the ball, and obviously he's someone that has not played in a very long time, so I still have to also cut him some slack for that as well. Iberechi Eze, I was not too impressed, in all honesty. He just had an okay game. Like, he didn't look like someone that was trying to fight for his place back in the team, With the way he's playing, or the way he played today, I have no qualms bringing Odegaard, Rice, and Mendy back for the Chelsea game. In all honesty, yes, I know he has had his moments towards the Crystal Palace win, the hat trick against Spurs, but I expect more from him. I actually expect more from Izzy. He's actually like a marquee signing for us, but he was just very casual. He didn't impose the game as I would have hoped him to do. Martinelli gets a 10 from me. Like it's a perfect performance, a hat trick. What else can you ask for your player? Very good game. Did very well on the left hand side as well. And contributed to the score. Two good goals with his head and one with his foot. Gabriel Jesus gets a 7. He didn't fire a couple much as he didn't fire any shot at goal if I can recall, maybe one or two. But at least he influenced the game with a very lovely pass where he created for Martinelli. That was a very good assist. It's as like you expect for someone like Gabriel Jesus. Madueke gets an 8 from me. He was a terrorist to that fullback, Swanson. Had a penalty that he missed, no doubt, but he also created 2 assists, or even the third one if he had the own goal drama in the first half. So Madueke is a very good replacement for Saka, a very good, dependable backup we can count on. And for many years, this was something that we have been struggling with. Now, I was reading As blog today. He mentioned something about Saka, or was it today or a couple of days back, where he mentioned of how important the presence of Madueke does to Saka. I'm trying to find the exact quotes. I can't find them right now, unfortunately. But basically, the idea was that having someone like Madueke allows Saka to be fresh because now he doesn't have to play 90 minutes and run himself to the ground. There are games now, even when he was even rested, when we get to start, like the Brentford game, Madueke did very well. So it's very clear to see that now Arsenal has a very dependable player on the right hand flank that can contest with Saka. The idea was to have a team to contribute in all fronts. I can see right now Saka didn't even play any minutes in the game against Portsmouth and we're getting ready to play against Chelsea. So what does this mean? Obviously, Arsenal has gone to the fourth round of the FA Cup. There are some interesting results in the competition in the third round. I'll just give a quick overview of some high-level ones. Let's start with the Friday game. Nottingham Forest lost to Wrexham. That game went into penalties. It was shocking, no honesty. Leicester beat Cheltenham. I think I don't forget how the Premier League teams. Everton Sunderland, they played 1-1, but Everton lost 0-3 on penalties. The Sunderland goalkeeper, Robin Rose, he saved 3 spot kicks. He had a very great game. He saved James Garner's spot kick. He saved Tiemo Barry's spot kick. He saved Beto's spot kick. Crystal Palace lost to Macclesfield. That was a shocking result. That's certainly the shock of the weekend. Wolves have been in very good form in recent weeks, but they smashed Shrewsbury Town 6-1. Strand Larsen scored a hat trick in that game. Burnley, who have been the whipping boys in the Premier League, they smashed 5 past Millwall. There were goals from Ashley Barnes, the ageless at forward, with Anthony, Barnell, and Chuana also scoring. Fulham defeated Middlesbrough 3-1. Harry Wilson, our boy Emil Smith-Rowe, and Kevin, the winger, scored for them. Man City were very childish. They demolished Exeter 10-1. There were goals from Alain, the centre back that was called back due to the injury problems. Rodri scored. There were 2 own goals. Rico Lewis, who has not played in ages, scored twice. Their new signing, Antoine Semenyo, also scored on his debut. Johnny Reinders scored, Nico O'Reilly, and of course, Aido. Then Newcastle and Bournemouth, that was a very pulsating encounter. It ended 3-3. Barnes scored first, actually Barnes scored first. Then Scott equalized. Then Brooks made it 2-1. In the 90th plus 5th minute, Anthony Gordon scored a penalty. Then Barnes now made it 100. Barnes made it 3-2 in the 118th minute. When Newcastle were thinking that they were going to go into the game with 3-2 winners, Tavernier scored for Bournemouth to make it 3-3. And of course, we went through the lottery of penalty shootouts and the game ended 7-6. Dafode Diakite was the one that finally made the decisive penalty for Bournemouth And obviously, Alon Ramsey will be happy. He has actually been on many goals scored in recent times, but he did well for Newcastle in the penalty shootout. Elsewhere, Tottenham lost at home to Aston Villa. I really don't know what's going on with that club right now, but honestly, I do not care. They lost to Aston Villa, lost to Bournemouth before that, drew with Sunderland, drew with Brentford, lost to Newcastle, lost to Nottingham Forest. Who knows? Maybe Thomas Frank will be sacked soon, but as I said, I do not care. It's Tottenham. Of course, I also do not care about Aston Villa because of Emery. So that was one game I didn't actually care about at all. Chelsea defeated Charlton Athletic 5-1, as you would expect. Goals from Hato, Tosin, Maguire, Neto, and Enzo Fernandez. Then elsewhere, Leeds United defeated Derby County. Nonto, Tanaka, and James Justin scored. Then West Ham managed to win QPR 2-1. Castellanos finally scored his first goal for the team. Although the game actually went into extra time, it was quite interesting. Then the final game of the night was Man United playing at home to Brighton, and they lost to Brighton. As irony will have it, Danny Welbeck scored the winning goal of the game. Gruder scored first, Welbeck made it two. Benjamin Sesko scored late on, but it was not enough to get a draw to go to extra time. There are only two more games left. On Monday, which is tomorrow, Liverpool will host Barnsley, and on Tuesday, Salford will host Swindon. I don't know if the draws are out yet. I'll probably check, but till then. So finally, who are we playing next? Arsenal are going to play Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. Right now, we're still on all fronts. First in the Premier League, first in the Champions League, the Carabao Cup semi-finals, and now we're in the FA Cup fourth round. We have a squad that can actually go through all these games. The injuries have really been taking their toll on us, but at least the lads are doing very well, which I'm happy about. So our next opponent is going to be Chelsea. It's going to happen on Wednesday night by 9 p.m. Annoyingly, Nigeria is also going to play Morocco in the semi-finals of the African Cup of Nations by 9 p.m. as well. So I think I'm going to find a way to watch both games, probably watch one on TV and one on my phone or something like that. Because those are two blockbuster games I certainly do not want to miss. So we'll probably have a match preview for the Chelsea game early next week. And of course, we'll watch the Chelsea game, do the match reactions, then get ready for Nottingham Forest over the weekend. As I'm about to go on a run of 4 away games in a row, this was the first away game against Portsmouth. We're going to go to Stamford Bridge to play Chelsea. We're going to go to City Ground to play Nottingham Forest. Then we'll go to San Siro to play Inter Milan. So that was pretty much the match reaction and analysis for the Portsmouth game. Arsenal has done very well to get the result that we did. 4-1, as you'd expect. Hat-trick for Martinelli, happy about it. It was really good today. And of course, what I'm just thinking, as it stands now, everyone that was there to play against Chelsea got a rest except Gabriel, which is not a bad thing. And obviously on Wednesday, when we go to Stamford Bridge, Arsenal probably have a very strong squad because obviously Chelsea have a new manager in Rosinio, former Strasbourg coach, who wants to put his best lads out as well. So what did you guys think about the game? Put your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us up all about Arsenal for more Arsenal content. Until then, come on, you Gunners.